to the 10-minute rule motion. Jenny Riddell-Carpenter.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that leave be given to bring in a bill to make provision about road safety measures near schools and for connected purposes. Madam Deputy Speaker, every parent knows that heart-stopping moment watching their child cross the road and just praying drivers are paying attention. For too many families that I speak to in my constituency of Suffolk Coastal, that silent prayer takes place daily as they drop off their children at school and they pick them up at the end of the day. Road traffic accidents are, tragically, the leading cause of death for children in the UK. And the Royal Society for Protection of Accidents estimates that every single month, 1,200 children are injured in traffic accidents that happen within 500 metres of the school gates. These two statistics hit me hard when I first read them, and I can imagine they hit members across this House just as hard. It was the parents who first told me about their worries over their children's safety when dropping them off and collecting them again after school. And then so did the schools, and then finally, so did the children themselves. When I look at the data, I can see it was telling me the same story. 14% of child fatalities occur during the morning school run between 7 and 9 o'clock, and 23% happen after school between 3 and 5 o'clock. Madam Deputy Speaker, in February of this year, 10-year-old Roman Osborne was hit by a van when leaving his primary school at Pickup in Trimley, St Martin. The driver wasn't speeding or driving recklessly. In fact, witnesses told me that he was travelling at about 20 miles an hour. Luckily, Roman recovered, but the impact was so severe that he spent 3 days in hospital with a broken hip and many more months recovering. His parents told me that if it hadn't been for him landing on his rucksack, which shielded him from a far more serious injury and potentially head trauma, the outcome would have been tragic. Roman's story reminds us that improving road safety around our schools isn't simply about reducing speeds to 20 miles an hour, though I dread to imagine how much worse it could be if that driver had been going 30, 40 or faster. In truth, road safety is about making the environment around schools far safer and by any means necessary. That means proper crossings, clear road markings, enforcing parking restrictions, visible signage, and yes, the presence of school patrols, school crossing patrols, and much-loved lollipop men and women. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, what frustrates me most is that much of these options are available to councils today, but only if they choose to implement them. After this accident, Suffolk County Council told me that the road had been assessed because of Roman's accident, but it did not meet the criteria for additional safety measures. Madam Deputy Speaker, you don't need me to tell you that's not good enough. When a child is injured outside their own school, how can any system say it does not meet the criteria to make that road safer? It should not be at the discretion of any council to turn a blind eye. Bucklesham Primary School, in my constituency, and watching in the gallery today, also know this challenge all too well. The school sits in a junction of a 60-mile-an-hour and a 30-mile-an-hour road. It's an isolated rural school with no footsteps or homes around it, and parents have no choice but to drive to school each and every day while navigating awful conditions in the process. Parents and staff have been pleading for improvements for 2 decades. They have gathered petitions, met councillors, written letters, and still, after 20 years, no permanent safety measures have been put in place. I presented a petition to this place in September with over 300 signatures because of the road safety issues outside Bucklesham Primary School. These stories, and the many others I've heard since being elected, are exactly why I've been campaigning relentlessly to improve road safety around our schools. I've taken that campaign to number 10 Downing Street, and today I bring it forward formally to Parliament through this 10-minute rule bill. Now, the purpose of this bill is simple: to make it a requirement, not an option, for local authorities to take proactive steps to improve safety around schools where there is evidence of potential risk. This bill would place a duty on councils to work directly with schools and communities to assess road conditions, listen to local concerns, and identify practical solutions. Those measures, of course, will differ from place to place, because a rural lane in Suffolk looks very different to an urban street in Manchester. But the principle must remain the same. Every child, no matter where they live in this country, deserves to travel safely to school. As my bill sets out, a package of local solutions might include more double yellow lines and enforced parking restrictions, improved signage and road markings, dedicated school crossings, more lollipop men and women, and reduced speed zones during drop hours. In short, Madam Deputy Speaker, schools should not have to campaign for safer roads, nor should their pleas fall on deaf ears. They should be able to expect it. Our children should be able to travel to and from school each day without fearing the roads outside their schools. Madam Deputy Speaker, Suffolk has one of the poorest road safety records of any rural county in England. Over the past 20 years across Suffolk, there have been 597 fatalities and 7,000 people seriously injured. 7,500 lives lost or changed forever. In Suffolk coastal alone, more than 1,000 people have either been killed or seriously injured in our roads. And tragically, 17 of these were children. These are our children, on our roads, and this is our responsibility. Madam Deputy Speaker, the evidence shows that we can prevent many of these tragedies. The Parliamentary Office for Science and Technology has found strong evidence that 20-mile-an-hour speed limit and zone reduced casualties and fatalities. After Wales introduced a default 20-mile-an-hour national speed limit on restricted roads, casualties fell by 24% between April and June last year, compared with the same period the year prior. Now, parents know this instinctively. Surveys show that 36% of parents feel roads are too busy for their children to walk to school, and 43% say traffic is too fast, even when a 20-mile-an-hour zone exists. According to Break, the road safety charity that I've worked with on my campaign and on this bill, 78% of parents want a 20-mile-an-hour limit near homes and schools, and 85% want government to do more to make local roads safer. Yet the framework guiding local road safety decisions mean that too many councils are able to ignore local concerns, even when tragedy strikes. My bill would end that absurdity and end the crisis at our school gates. It would also make transparency a duty. Councils will be required to publish annual statements outlining what safety reviews have been conducted, what measures have been implemented, and how they are working with schools in our community to improve standards. The Government is due to publish a new road safety strategy early next year, the first in a decade. I welcome that, and many of the families and schools I speak to welcome that too. But the strategy must put road safety around our schools at the very top of the list. This bill would make that possible by setting out clear expectations for local authorities and giving schools the voice in shaping the solutions they need. The answer is painfully simple. We know what makes our roads safer. The measures are well understood and so often inexpensive. What we lack is urgency and accountability. We should not accept that parents and schools that have been campaigning for 20 years to make drop-off and pick-up safer, yet still have their school hugging a 60-mile-an-hour road. We should not accept that a child is hit by a van and the road is assessed and yet still fails to meet self-determined thresholds for intervention. And we should never forget that the leading cause of death among children in this country is in our gift to reduce, simply by improving road safety around our schools. Madam Deputy Speaker, this is not about politics. I'm sure that every member of this House has stood at a school gate and seen speeding cars too fast and too close. And I'm sure that every member in this House has heard the same plea from parents. Roman told me that all he wants is a pedestrian crossing at his school gate. This bill would seek to give Roman that and every school the power to bring forward safety enhancements for their own school. This is a modest bill, but it is practical. And most importantly, it would save lives and it would help to tackle the biggest cause of death amongst children. With this bill, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have the chance to make sure that campaigning is no longer necessary, because safety should be guaranteed by design, by duty and law.
The question is that the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Who will prepare and bring in the bill?
Sarah Coombs, Terry Jermy, Ben Goldsborough, Sarah Dyke, Maya Ellis, Amanda Hack, Richard Quigley, Samantha Niblett, Alison Hume, Steve Witherden, Josie Golding and myself.
Make a good one.
Jenny Riddell-Carpenter.
Road Safety Schools Bill.
Second reading what day?
28th of November 2025.
28th of November 2025. I'll now give the front benches a few moments to rearrange.